Now move on to Barcelona in Spain, a wonderful Prabhupada disciple who actually came to Srila Prabhupada, came to the devotees in 1976 and took Harinam from Srila Prabhupada, actually in the same year that our first speaker, Satyadeva, also came, got Harinam in 1977. 10 years later, she got Diksha from Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj. I have to declare some spiritual envy there because, in a good way, because I think Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj is just the most extraordinary acharya and most beautiful writer whose prose was basically like poetry. And she took Diksha from him. And in 1994, a couple of years before Srila Gurudev came to the West, she met Srila Gurudev in Mathura. And Hawaii, actually, where she lives, or lives, I think she's just seeing her family in Spain. It was a very important location for Srila Gurudev because Srila Gurudev would rest and write a lot in Hawaii. So she got a lot of association with him, and Gurudev referred to her as his doctor. And she performed a lot of acupuncture on him and performed other services while in Hawaii. And whenever I've met this lady, I think she's very aptly named as Srimati, Hladini, Sakti, Didi. And she's like the personification of Srila Gurudev because she knows how to be both sober and serious, yet know how to smile and laugh and fully partake in life. So she's definitely a beautiful Anga of Srila Gurudev. So without further ado, Hladini Sakti, the Vyasa-san is yours. A very warm welcome and lovely to see you again. Hari Bol.
Now you're making me so shy.
I try my best. I try hard.
All right. Om Nanjana Tirimandasya Jananjana Salakaya Jatsuru Militanjena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Namo Vistani Stapitanyana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayan Dadati Swam Padantikan Vandeha Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamanan Sri Guru Vaisnavancha Sri Rupa Sagrajatan Sahagana Lalita Raghunatang Bitanstam Sajivan Vetam Sabadutam Parishana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Spitanscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinavando Yagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Kurange Rade Vrindavaneswari Risavano Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Panchakalpantaruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Panavevyo Vaisnavevyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. And I pay my Dandavat Pranams, unlimited Dandavat Pranams to my Harinam Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. My Dandavat Pranams to my beloved Srila Sri Sakti, Srila Sitara Maharaj, Bhakti Rasak Srila Maharaj, and my very beloved Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, who I own and being able to understand much better and deeper the personalities of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Sitara Maharaj. Gurudev, like he always, every class, and so many of the when devotees will come for darshan and visiting, he always will state very strongly how fortunate we are that we have come to know a real, true Bhagavad devotee. And that luckiness, I truly feel through my life that having met them is just a change completely. You were talking about the paradox.
Sorry, Didi, you froze for about a minute. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You may want to just go back a few.
Okay. So, yeah, Gurudev used to emphasize very much in classes and also when giving darshans, personal darshans, how lucky we were to meet a Bhagavad devotee. You know, thanks to him, I was able to understand a lot deeper who was Srila Prabhupada, understanding even that we need to really get to know better who is Krishna, not just that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but what he thinks, how he feels for Srimati Radharani, how he feels for his devotees. So much deeper, understanding that what is the difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and how to build these very strong desires or lolian towards advancing Krishna consciousness and following the moods of those Rasik devotees. That was unknown to us. That was in Hawaiian they call it kapu. Is a place where you don't go. You're not allowed. and Gurudev dropped that completely. It's like, no, you must have that hope. You must have that knowledge, so that instead of being always limited into the rules and regulations and the life of rules and regulations, and feeling that we are the lowest of the lowest of the lowest, you know, understanding that and always having a very humble, being always very humble, but always having the hope that by Krishna's mercy, by Guru mercy, by serving Guru and having faith in Guru, we can advance spiritually to a one level that we don't have to go back. And so, you know, like you were saying, it was so special, my being in Hawaii at that time, because Gurudev, I mean, gave me a very special mercy, I guess, because I needed it the most, but I was able to listen to many innumerable darshans where he was personally instructing the devotees or not instructing the devotees according to, he was definitely the personification, and I can feel it, I can see it, the personification of Paramatma in every devotee's heart. He will know exactly how to take them to from the obstacles that they have, breaking that apart to bring them to a higher level. You know, very, very expert of there was it was very nice when Prabhu was saying about when we first came to Hawaii. Actually, I have to go back and explain a little bit. When I first met him in Natura, 1994, it was pretty funny because we were talking about Srila Prabhupada, and then somehow or other, one of the first things that he told me is like, you should move to Vrindavan and live here. And at that time, I was very entangled in a marriage and 4 children, in a job, a career, a business, so much. But he was reading my heart desire. And so he brought that up. And then, like a total ignorant person, my response to that was a very brainwashed type of style that and I told him, oh, Srila Prabhupada wanted us to stay in the West and preach. And immediately I said those words, I felt like a total fool. Later on, I went back to my room. I was staying next door with Shamarani Didi in the ISKCON temple in Krishna Balaram. And I started chanting and meditating, and I felt such a fool. And as I remember back, it was the beginning of my renaissance, my reincarnation as a devotee. Because it made me feel so such a fool. Like what I'm preaching about in the West, I'm not preaching nothing. I'm not understanding anything. And it was the beginning of I started reading his books and a deep surrender again, like another chance for bhakti again. Bhakti Rasaksila Siddhara Maharaj, when he gave me Diksha, he gave me this more, like you were saying, poetic, but also it liberated me from the heaviness of the material world and the darkness and the hellish aspect of this world into the window of like, whoa, the spiritual world made of love, etc., etc. And then meeting Gurudeva, and starting, he gave me at that time, he had 2 books, 2 or 3 books, I am forgotten, translated or into English, and it became my Bible to like into the pastimes, into the mood of reading and reading and absorbing yourself at the same time in the mood of the pastimes. That was the first ever experience for me. So chanting it become incredible. Going back to America, to the States, to Hawaii, it changed my life. It changed completely my life. So by the time that he came to Hawaii in the first visit, I was already happily divorced. I was absorbed in chanting, and etc. Really got me to another level, and I was so ready. But the funny thing was that the first lecture that I went to where all the devotees surrendered, there was quite a crowd, and I told everybody to come anyway. But like Prabhu was saying, it was like with the arms crossed, because at least with Prabhupada, at least we were able to understand who was a full guru and who was a true guru. At least I felt that way. I'm going to check this guy. And if he says something against Srila Prabhupada or that is not Siddhanta, I'm going to speak up my mind. So, by the end of the first class, I was like, this is pretty good. The second day, I just cried like a fool at his lotus feet. It was like, okay, I got it. I need help and you can help. And he says so. So it was not love at the first, first sight, but it really, it definitely touched my heart, and it brought me to, to understand so much more at the deep levels of, Guru Seva. I did a lot of cleaning with Brinda Devi and Tungavirya every morning. I saw extraordinary moods of Gurudev during his Gayatri mantra. I observed from the very distance, and he was immobile. He will not move a hair. He was in true samadhi, and you knew by looking that he was way gone, way very far away into that realm. There was one experience that is very nice to share. One time I had to speak to Srila Gurudev. So very patiently, I was waiting, sitting in the grass, far enough not to call his attention very much, but being present, because he was writing. And when he will write, he will go into a very deep state. And no one was able to come close to Gurudev. But by the time that Maharaj will have to bring some tea or medicine or the prasadam, he will not be interrupted, and everybody was kept completely away from him because of this specialty of him going into these deep moods as he translate and write by hand. So one time I was sitting, waiting. He's gonna see me. I really have to talk to him. I wanted to ask him a question. It was that the devotees, they were asking me to give treatment to Madhava Maharaj. And I was feeling that I needed the okay from Gurudev to treat a sannyas, to put my hands in a sannyas. And so it's like, I'm gonna wait here until I get an okay from Gurudev. He, at one point, he observed, he saw that I was there. And when he slowly raised his head, and when I saw in his eyes, it was that he was not there present. It took him many seconds to slowly, it was like a traveling through consciousness, traveling from this realm into the present realm to the mood and my own consciousness. It's like, okay, Hladini, what do you need? To that level. And then on top of that, when I told him that what I needed, and I questioned him, he got really, it's like he didn't understand why not? Why will be the problem? And I said, well, Gurudev, I just don't want people to criticize Madhava Maharaj and you and the devotees because a woman is treating a sannyas. Oh, he got really, really mad, did not like that. You are my daughter. He had no concept. And he wanted it to make clear that this bodily conception of life is very low. It's not for devotees, do not belong in Vaisnavas, in Vaisnava treatment. That the love and affection, it has no bodily concept. And so, that was one of the so many different, experiences with Gurudev. Same thing happened in another time when somebody was also looking at me treating Gurudev in a little funny way. He got also very, very, he didn't like that at all. Yeah, I was extremely to the point, always trying to raise the devotees to a higher level of consciousness at all levels. The way that you chant, don't put your emphasis, do not emphasize your anarthas, but emphasize your chanting and your bhajan, that they are not the offenses, all that, it will go away. just emphasize what the positives, because that brings positives. I don't know. If you want to ask questions, I'm good at answer. It's just, we can go on and on because glorifying, you know, like how always they said that glorifying a devotee, a Vaishnava, is it will take eternity. And so, and thanks God, we do have eternity. Because of them, their mercy, we actually do have the eternity. And there is no time and there is not a space in the glorification of Vaishnava.
Yeah, I thought you touched on a really important point just then. During the Tirubhav festival, it was actually one of the subject matters, how Gurudev really emphasized the importance of Artha Pravritti over Anartha Nivritti. He's like always on the positive. Can you say more about that? Because I feel like aside from emphasizing how to reach the sadhya by employing the right abhidheya, there was something very hopeful in that message, something very hopeful.
Yeah, well, like I said, he was very expert in always giving hope. And you don't give hope to the devotees because we are all offenders. It's just, what can we do? It's just, we've been here like millions of years doing the other side, being on the other side of illusion. So I mean, I have personal experience. I see in devotees becoming stuck on this world is full of misery, is hell. There is no such a thing as love. It's only lust. And this nonsense that they speak, not unrealizing that the main reason for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, well, the part of the preaching Harinam and the teachings of our acharyas is that no, that is the illusion. That is the dark side of existence. That is is the side that we are living. We need to penetrate ourselves, to indulge ourselves in the true in the true reality, in the true dimension, which is the dimension of love. And we are here to learn that. As devotees in the process of bhakti, it means this is the process of learn how to purely love. You know, love the Vaishnavas, love the people. If we are criticizing people, if we are criticizing gurus, if we are criticizing, that means we haven't get over it ourselves in our soul. We're still contaminated with it. Because when we understand, then we understand, okay, I've been there, done that, if not in this lifetime, in another. And then we don't take it so seriously anymore. And the Vaishnava, you see this in this amazing transcendental beings where they don't see any of that. Why? Because they know that that is temporal. All these things are temporal. And if we understand, if we see them and we understand fully by the mercy of Guru, then we are neutral. We don't get disgusted by the activities that the body's falling, demons doing demoniac things. We don't get disgusted anymore because we understand the nature of these things. So this is the true mercy of Guru and the true faith of Guru. When we don't follow instructions of the Guru, that means that we don't have faith and things fall apart. And fall apart because we haven't reached unconsciousness. Why? Because the true faith in Guru is not there, it's still, it's not solid, hasn't solidified, which simply means that we need to continue doing Harinam without committing offenses, to continue to advance spiritually. Everything becomes, from deep in our heart, it becomes knowledgeable by being in touch, because when we are doing Harinam and in that mood, being humble, then we are in touch. We are in direct touch with Sri Guru. So everything will come. we will understand more and more and more, and we will be guided internally. Remember, that Guru, and we always been teach, Guru is very powerful, very strong, very heavy, like Balaram, but also is very soft, very merciful, like Srimati Radharani. That's Guru. But everything is there. Everything is there. Everything is there. Otherwise, no living beings will be able to ever leave this material world and the modalities of material nature. Yeah. So yeah,
I think you're touching on some really deep subjects about how the devotee deals with, on the one hand, we're trying to walk on a path towards the divine from the Gu to the Ru, and on the other hand, we're often internally sabotaged by many destructive and demonic proclivities, tendencies, and how to reconcile these things, how to tolerate these things within ourselves and outside of ourselves without getting despondent and broken. And you're really touching on Gurudev's real compassion and broad-mindedness and desire to say to us, it's okay, just don't dwell on these things. Don't dwell on these things, is what I'm hearing you say. Yeah.
Right. One time he was, I was in this state of deep, I was doing so much seva, doing so much work, and I was still feeling so hopeless, like, how hard-headed, why can I get there? I was feeling very bad. And and I was, many devotees, there was, I don't know if it was a darshan or class or something, and everybody left, and I was there next to Gurudeva at his feet. I will always try to sit very close to his feet, my head down, with this feeling of heaviness. And Gurudev looked at me for a second, and he got out of the chair, jumped out of the air with his arms up, and said to me, "Don't be hopeless." And he left it right there. And by doing so, I never again in my entire life felt hopeless. He cured me. And the thing is, like, Guru is there present, waiting for us to manifest whatever we need to manifest, and open up and tell him. And then he just takes it away so easily for the pure devotee to take away what we don't want, what we don't need. Oh Krishna, this is in the way of my relationship with you. Can you please take away this? And very happy Guru helps in do sai. And Gurudev was very, very expert in doing that constantly to all the devotees, and sometimes one-to-one, and sometimes to the whole multitude, to 1,000 devotees. He will do that at the same time.
Because from his eternal perspective of Mahabhagavad, of infinite love beyond anything we can recognize, our little nonsense and they're so small. They're like, they're nothing actually. Nothing. They're inconsequential. To our finite consciousness, they're overwhelming, they're huge, they're massive obstacles. From his perspective, they're dust. Yeah,
because, and that's what he was just, very important. I have to express this, because this Please. Is like, I always tell the devotees, one time he came walking towards me, and also in the North Shore where he was staying, he was chanting japa, and he saw me passing by, and he started walking towards me, and I go, wow, so nice. Gurudev comes to talk to me. And so then, he simply started talking conversation, and he said, he said some things. He said that, it was kind of putting on me to try to write some books for people that they are beginners in Krishna consciousness. And I was like shocked, because I always like to write, but I since I become a devotee, just have no time for any of that. And I don't think that I'm qualified anyway. So I never even thought about it anymore. But anyhow, then immediately after that, I asked him a question. Hey, Guru Gurudev, you always said that these books that some of these books that you are translating are too high for us to understand. Yes, 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 that is true. So, but you also said in classes, I have heard you saying that you are doing by the order of your Gurudev. Yes, yes, yes. So does that mean that in the future, there will be devotees that they will take birth, that they will be able to understand and to be at the level of truly understand and take advantage of these books and these translations? And his smile, it was so huge. He was so happy to hear this, and with his eyes really big and open, he said, yes, that is like that. So, yeah, because, one time I was reading a book, and well, he was telling me to read this, to read that, to read all the books of the Gosvamis. And one devotee, one of those devotees that they were following him everywhere around the world, it came to me and it's like, Gurudeva said that you can't read these books, that they are too high. It's like, well, maybe he tell you, but not me. Because Gurudev was very personal. He knew exactly what the devotee need, not to be hopeless. Not to make us hopeless. Yeah.
Also, the other thing, Didi, is we don't have to think of ourselves. We need to have humility with these books, and we need to give proper respects to the authors and beg for their mercy that we can understand something.
Correct.
But we don't need to worry about our own qualification, because Gurudev wouldn't have written them if he wasn't qualified to give us the qualification.
It's correct. And he says so. I have given you everything. How many times he has said that? I have given you everything. Now you have to become qualified to understand. But in the meantime, one time, because he told me to read it and to give specifically instructions to teach Jaiva Dharma. And then I told Gurudev one time, I was very happy and I said, yes, yes, Gurudev, I'm reading Jaiva Dharma very, very slowly. I have read it a few times. I'm reading now very slowly, scrutinizing the words and the sentences. And Gurudev looked at me and is like, no need, just read it. Don't try to go and try to figure it out with your little brain and your little consciousness. The depth of Jaiva Dharma. That's what I got. It's like, oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna just read it.
Listen, I'm sure when a jiva actually gets to the spiritual world and is experiencing the consciousness of the spiritual world,
yes,
and if it was possible to be reminded of these vessels called words through which we try to reach the spiritual world in these gross bodies, it's just a joke, really. These words are just such an approximation, just like our bodies are such a perverted reflection of the real thing. Words themselves can't get anywhere near the real experience of the spiritual world.
Correct.
They're just the best that we've got, the best of a difficult job, basically.
Right, because we leave all that behind to just live in the world of the mood of love. And the mood of love and the gopis is not very philosophical. The technicalities of our Siddhanta, they don't matter anymore. Only what our body, our heart feels, the moods of separation and the moods of seva is.
Which, by the way, which points us in the direction of the need to put in perspective these Siddhantic differences that we get very het up about. It's really important to get them in perspective.
Very.
Because when you put them next to the kind of moods you're talking about, it's not to minimize the importance of keeping Siddhantically loyal to our Gurudev, but at the same time, we mustn't spoil our hearts in pursuit of these temporary victories.
And at the same time, the Siddhanta are the basis for the moods. If we don't know Siddhanta,
exactly.
Then you become, you know what?
Exactly.
So we don't
beautiful. Well, thank you so much. So nice to have you.
Well.
How long are you going to be in Barcelona for?
Oh, until this the 17th, and then I'm back, and I've been here a month already, and on the 17th I'm going back to Hawaii.
Then you're back to the heavenly planets. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I always tell people, like, it looks like a heavenly planet, but if you just dive a little bit underneath the ocean, the water, everybody's eating each other.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Didi. That was a real beautiful to see you again. Thank you so much.
Radhe Radhe, Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.